Good morning, folks. Good morning, folks. It's your bro, Richie here. How y'all doing? I'm doing great. Today's video is now an extended video of the previous Pontiac GTO video. So I'm still on the Gen 2 GTO. So today I'm now continuing on from where so today I'm now continuing on to where I left off to. So today I'm continuing on to where I left off to. So which is the next one, which is 1970. So there's only a few to go, but I'll get those done as much as I can as possible. Okay, so before I continue on from where I left off to from last video, make sure you guys all like the video, subscribe, comment down below what you guys think. Hit the notification bell and hit all so you're alerted of when I make brand new uploads. Okay, so without any further ado, let's continue on. So without any further ado, let's continue on from where I left off. So next version we got is 1970. Here we go. So the the Tempest model line. So Tempest model line received another facelift for the 1970 model year. So 1970 model year. So 1970 model year. 1970 model year. Hidden headlights. Oh god. Sorry, I was a bit tired from the last video. After I did that, I was just felt completely dead. Like, I was legit tired. So, the Tempest model, the Tempest model line received another facelift for the 1970 model year. Hidden headlights were removed or deleted in favor of four exposed round headlights outboard of narrower grill openings, which were much more narrow than previously. So more narrow than before. The nose, so the front end, retained the protruding vertical prow theme. Say prow theme. It's like saying crow, as in like a bird, but taking out the letter C and putting P at the very beginning, and you get prow theme. Although it's less prominent, while both the regular Tempest, standard Tempest, and while both the regular Tempest and Le Mans had chrome grills, so grills made from chrome, the GTO meanwhile retained the Endura urethane cover around the both the headlight head both the around both the headlights and the grill. The suspension was upgraded with the addition of a rear anti roll bar. Essentially the same essentially the same used on both the Oldsmobile 442 and Buick Grand Sport. So Buick Grand Sport. So Buick Grand Sport. The front anti-roll bar meanwhile, so the front anti-roll bars meanwhile slightly stiffer. The result was a reduction in body lean, so like body roll technically. In turns and a modest reduction of understeer, so it doesn't keep like understeering too much so it doesn't like keep going straight while the wheel is turning. So while the wheels are turning, so while the wheels are turning, so it reduces the body length so it doesn't roll about too much. So the results a reduction in so both a reduction in body lean in turns and a modest reduction of understeer. Another handling another handling related improvements another handling related improvement was optional variable ratio power steering variable ratio power steering rather than a fixed ratio of 17.5 to 1 requiring 4 turns lock to lock. The new system varied its ratio from 14.6 to 1. So from 14.6 to 1 from 14.6 to 1 to 18.9 to 1. So 2.3 more than previously, needing 3.5 turns lock to lock. Turning diameters reduced from 49, actually 40.9, sorry. So 41 feet. So it's 12.5 meters to 37.4 feet. 11.4 meters. So that's a calculation on that. So that's a 3.5 feet. Um 1.1 meter reduction in turning diameter. So it was reduced from those two equations. The base motor was standard, so was unchanged for 1970. But the low compression economy V8s was removed, and the 400 Ram Air, aka the Ram Air 3, now called Ram Air, and Ram Air 4 remained available. And so now called Ram Air and Ram Air 4. So Ram Air and Ram Air 4 remained available. A new option was Pontiac's D-Port 7.5 liter 454 7.5 liter 455 high output V8 motor, different from the round port offerings of 71 and 72 cars. Now that GM now that GM has uh now that GM has rescinded its earlier ban on intermediates with motors larger than 6.6 liters, so it's 400 cubic inches. The 455, a long stroke V8, also available in the full size. So a long stroke V8 also available in the full size Pontiac line, as well as the Grand Prix, was dubiously rated by Pontiac at 360 horsepower, only moderately stronger by 10 extra horsepower than the base 6.6 liter 400 350 horsepower V8. Only so only moderately stronger than the base 6.6 liter only moderately stronger than the base 6.6 liter 400 6.6 liter 400 V8, which made like 350 horsepower, and less powerful than the 366 horsepower Ram Air version. The Pontiac brochure indicated the same 450. So the Pontiac brochure indicated the same exact 450 455 455 so 455 installed in the Grand Prix model was rated at 370 horsepower, so not too bad. The camshafts used in the Ram Air 400 and the GTO 455 high output V8 were all exactly the same. For example, manual 455 HOs use the same exact 288 302 duration cam. So duration cam as the duration cam. So duration cam as the Ram Air 400. The 450 the 450 the 455 the 455 was rated at 4300 RPM at 360 horsepower. Its advantage was torque at 2700 RPM. So at 2700 RPM, 500 pound-feet, 680 newton meters of torque. Well, it says 678, but I just ran up to 680 just so it gets to a closer equation. So 680 newton meters of torque at 2700 RPM. So at 2700 RPM, 500 pound-feet, 680, close to 700 newton meters of torque. Not bad at 2700 RPM. Pretty good. A functional ram air scoop was available, but both official horsepower and torque ratings were unchanged when so equipped. So in other words, it remained the same exact amount. Car and driver, so when it was equipped. So when so equipped, car and driver tested a heavily optioned or heavily modified as it was supposed to be high output 455 V8 with a 4-speed manual and 3.31 axle and recorded a quarter-mile time of dead on at 15 seconds flat with a trap speed of 96.5 miles an hour, almost 100 miles an hour. So not too bad. CarLife tested the CarLife test car. CarLife test car had the Turbo Hydra 455 gearbox with a 3.55 rear differential, clocked in a time of 14, not 40, sorry, I'll be way too freaking slow. So clocked in a time of 14.76 seconds, so less than 15 seconds. Quarter mile at 95.94, well, 96 miles an hour, with an identical 6.6 second, with an identical 0 to 60 acceleration time of 6.6 seconds. Both were about 3 miles an hour. Both were about 3 miles an hour slower than a Ram Air GTO with a 4-speed, although considerably less temperamental. The Ram Air V8 idled roughly and was difficult to drive at low speeds. The smaller displacement motor recorded less than 9 miles per gallon in the US. 26 liters 100 per 100 kilometers is about, for the important part, 11 miles per gallon of gasoline compared to 10 miles per gallon in the US. 24 liters 100 per 100 kilometers for important is like 12 miles per gallon. Then we got 11 miles per gallon in the US. 21 liters per 100 kilometers for important 13 mpg, 13 miles per gallon for the 450, 13 miles per gallon for the 7.5 liter 455 40. So 13 miles per gallon for the 455 7.5 liter V8. A new and short-lived, so both a new and short-lived option for 1970 was a VOE, vacuum operated exhaust. Interesting. Which was actuated via a underdash lever marked exhaust. The VOE was designed to reduce exhaust back pressure and increased power and performance, but also substantially increased exhaust noise. So it has more exhaust sound to it. The VOE options offered from November 1969 to January 1970. So it was available for only about 2-3 months, something like that. So November 1969 to January 1970, Pontiac management was ordered to cancel the VOE option by GM's by GM's upper management by GM's upper management following a TV commercial for the GTO that aired during Super Bowl 4 on CBS January 11th, 1970. In that commercial titled "The Humbler," an advertising so um in that commercial titled "The Humbler," an advertising wait an advertising tagline Pontiac used Pontiac an advertising tagline Pontiac used in print ads to describe all 1970 GTOs, which was broadcast only that one time. A young man pulled up in a new GTO to a drive-in restaurant with both dramatic music and exhaust noise in the background, pulling the exhaust knob to activate the VOE, and then left the drive-in after failing to find a street racing opponent. That particular commercial is also canceled by order of GM management, so management of General Motors. Approximately 233 of those 1970 GTOs were factory built with this option, including 212 hardtop coupes, so including um, 223 of those cars. So that include not 23, sorry, 233, sorry, 233. So that is including both the 212 hardtop coupes and 21 convertibles equipped with either a 4-speed manual or those turbo hydro gearboxes, while allegedly all were fitted with a standard GTO VS 6.6 liter 400 V8, making 350 horsepower. Pretty good. According to the 1970 Pontiac accessory book, VOE is available with a 455 V8. The accessorizer book indicates that VOE was unavailable with either 6.6 liter 400 V8s with ram air. However, it doesn't specify whether it's unavailable with the 455 when equipped with the optional ram air induction components. The particular GTO in the commercials, uh, palladium silver with a black bucket seat interior. It's unusual in several respects, as it also had the underdash rammer knob just to the right of the VOE knob, and it had 69 judge stripes as a few very early 70 GTOs, so 1970 GTOs could be ordered with. It also had a Ram Air 4 6.6 liter 400 V8 motor. Along with that, it even had four speed manual, remote mirror, Rally 2 wheels, air conditioning. So Rally 2 wheels, air conditioning, which is useful for the boiling hot summer, air conditioning, hood tachometer, and a new for 1970 Formula steering wheel. The car in the advertisements, a 1970 GTO pilot car built in May 1969. So the end of the 60s. The Judge Pack remained available as an option on the GTO. It came standard with the Ram Air 6.6 liter 400 V8, while the Ram Air 4 was optional, though the 455 high output 7.5 liter V8 was available. 7.5 liter V8s available as an option on the standard GTO throughout the entire model year. The 455 HO wasn't so the 455 high output V8 wasn't offered um on the Judge until late in the year. Orbit Orange, a bright school bus yellow hue, became the new feature color. So the new feature color for the 1970 Judge. So 1970 Judge, but any GTO color is available. Arch stripings relocated to the creases above the wheel wells, a new styling trait of the 1970 GTO introduced the previous year on the '69 Pontiac Firebird. The Judge Pack also the Judge Pack also included dark argent grille surrounds, black painted hood, air inlet ornaments, and a revised higher rear airfoil. The new styling did little to help declining sales, which were now being hit by sagging consumer interest in all muscle cars. Fueled by the fueled by fueled by the puni- fueled by the punitive surcharges levied by automobile insurance companies, which sometimes resulted in insurance payment. Which sometimes resulted in insurance payment in ins- which sometimes resulted in insurance payments higher than most car payments for some drivers. Sales were down to 40,149, so 40,149, of which nearly 3,800 were the Judge. Of those 3,800 cars, 3,797 cars built in the Judge trim level, only 168 were ordered in the convertible form. RA 400, 147 built. RA 4 18 were built. So RA 400 147 were built. RA 4 18 were built. And 455 high output 3 were built. So if you add those three together, you get a total of each of those three. You have 168 of those cars built. The 6970 round port RA4 motor, a derivative of the mid 68 round port RA2 motor, both V8s, was the most exotic high performance V8 ever offered um, by PM ever offered by PMD, factory installed in either a GTO or Firebird. The 1969 version had a slight advantage as the compression ratio was still at 10.75 to 1, as opposed to as opposed to as opposed to 10.5 to 1 in 1970. It speculated that PMD was losing $1,000 to a grand on each RA4 GTO and Firebird, on every RA4 GTO and Firebird built, and the RA4 motor was underrated at 370 horsepower, so it's not too bad. A total of 30, a total of 37, a total of 37, a total of 37 of those RA4 GTO convertibles were built in 1970. 24 of those were 4 speeds and 13 were automatics. So 13 were automatics. Um, so 13 were automatics. Of the 13 of those, of the 13 of those, 70 of those 1970, of those 1970 GTO RA4 automatic convertibles built, only of those automatic convertibles built, only six received the Judge option. Only six received the Judge option. The GTO remained the third best-selling intermediate muscle car. So the GTO remained the third best-selling intermediate muscle car, outsold only by both the Chevelle SS with both the 30 with both the so outsold only by both the Chevy Chevelle SS with both the 396 and the 454, 6.5 and 7.4 liter V8s. Not too bad. So 6.5 liter 396 and 7.4 liter 454, 7.4 liter 454, 7.4 liter 450, 7.4 liter 454, 454, and the Plymouth Roadrunner. Next, 1971. So there's, oh god, quite a lot more to do, but I'll get those done in no time. So the 71 GTO, the 71 GTO had another modest facelift, this time with wire mesh grills, horizontal bumper bars, horizontal bumper bars on either side of the horizontal bumper bars on either side of the grill opening, more closely spaced headlights, and a new hood with the dual scoops relocated to the leading edge, not far above the grill. Overall length grew slightly to 203.3 inches. Sport mirrors increased standard width by 2 inches from 74.5 to 76.5 inches. A new corporate precision to prepare built GM so a new corporate precision to prepare GM built cars for unleaded gasoline uh, requires a reduction in compression ratios. Both the Ram Air and Ram Air 4 motors didn't return for 1971. The standard GTO V8 was the standard GTO motor was the 6.6 liter 400 V8, but now with 8.2 to 1 compression ratio, power was rated at 4800 RPM at an SAE gross of just 300 horsepower, and at 3600 RPM, 400 pound-feet, 542 newton meters of torque. It's about 6 pound-feet, 8 newton meters less than an F80 M3 and an F82 M4 BMW. So 3600 RPM, 400 pound-feet, 542 newton meters of torque. So at 3600 RPM, it had at 4400 RPM, and this it had at 4400 RPM an SAE net of 255 horsepower. So at 4400 RPM in the GTO, and an SAE net at same RPM, but this time 250 horsepower in a Firebird. Optional was the 7.5 liter 455 V8 with a 4-barrel carburetor, 8.4 to 1 compression ratio, and at 4400 RPM, 325 horsepower. Not too bad, which was only available with a Turbo Hydra TH400 gearbox. It had an SAE net at 4 at 4 it had an SAE net at 4000 RPM, 260 horsepower in the GTO, and an SAE net in the Firebird, 255 horsepower. This motor wasn't available with ram air induction, unfortunately. The top of the line GTO V8 for 1971 was the new 7.5 liter 455 V8 high output with 8.4 compression, rated at 4800 RPM, 4800 RPM for power, and 3600 RPM for torque. 335 horsepower and 335 horsepower and 400 335 horsepower and 480 pound-feet, 651 newton meters of torque at 4400 RPM. It had, as an SAE net, 310 horsepower in a GTO and 305, both SAE net, in either the Firebird Trans Am or Formula 455 with ram air induction, Formula with the shaker hood inlet on the Trans Am. The 71 Pontiac brochure declared that this V8 produced more net horsepower than any other in its history. That would imply the 6.6 liter 400 CID V8 ram air motors had less than 310 horsepower net. For 71, the standard rear end was enough. So for 71, the standard rear end's an option, not option. For 71, the standard rear end's an open 10 bolt, posi traction 10 bolt rear ends were optional on 400 CID V8 equipped GTOs, while so the posi traction 10 bolt rear ends were optional on 400 CID V8 equipped V8 GTOs, while all 450 while all 455 while all 55 while all 455 CID GTOs were available with a so 455 CID GTOs are available with a 12 bolt open or optional 12 bolt posi traction rear end. Motor Trend tested a 71 GTO with a 455 4-speed and a 3.90 axle ratio, and obtained a 0 to 60 time of 0 to 60 mile an hour acceleration time of 6.1 seconds, and a quarter mile acceleration time of 13.4 seconds. 13